Welcome to Happy Homes and Gardens. I'm your host. My name is Daphne Royce. I am a real estate broker, architecture, and interior designer. Robots and drones are our feature. They can do things precisely and tirelessly. They can go places are impossible and too dangerous for humans. Ostrich Air is one of a few companies that build drones, rovers, and robotic systems to change dreams into reality. I'm excited to have Jonathan Collazo, who is CEO, and Derek Stevens, who is CTO of Ostrich Air, to tell us more about Ostrich Air. How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. Tell us about who you are and what you do.
So I'm Derek Stevens. I'm the CTO of Ostrich Air. I have a background in mechanical and aerospace engineering. I've been working on drones for over a decade now. And most of my career has been spent at various startups in the Bay Area doing a variety of different things, from delivery drones to self-driving cars to flying cars. So I like doing things with, the cutting edge technology and seeing how we can push the boundaries and do new things.
And I'm Jonathan Collazo. I'm the CTO of CEO. He's the CTO. I stole his answer. And I've been doing hands-on. So I'm actually, all my experience comes from actually working on prototypes for companies and doing consulting for those companies when it comes to drone technology. So I've been doing it for a really long time as well.
Where did your company name Ostrich Air come from?
Ostrich Air comes from the fact that we wanted to build and push the boundaries of the technology. And when we were looking for the name Ostriches, we figured out they were really big, which we were going to make big drones, but they couldn't fly, which was perfect for us because we were going to try to do stuff that seemed impossible. And it's a great fit with our company, because right now what we ended up doing is doing white label for a lot of big companies. And what that means is we're taking companies' dreams or ideas and we're making them a realization engineering wise, and signing basically NDAs or contracts stating that they made it, not us. So that's what the whole white labeling is, which gives us an insane amount of experience of creating just very unique, one-of-a-kind robots for different purposes.
What Ostrich Air currently can build for your customers?
We are at that point where we can almost build anything. So as long as it flies and drives, actually even some stuff that we built doesn't do either. So as long it's I guess cutting edge robotics. So if you have some kind of issue or a problem that needs to be solved with a robotic solution, we would come up creatively with that idea and actually create that robot to be able to do the job for you. So that we do specialize in air and ground, but we also have worked on pretty much everything in between.
Do you do anything in space?
We have designed stuff for space. It has never been used, but we have designed stuff for space.
Great. Yeah, that's our feature as well. What are the important parts in drones and robots?
So in the drones and robots we build, basically everything's important because we are building them specifically for a certain task. So we are picking every component for that specific task. But to kind of cover an overview, there's really two main sides of these devices. You have the power side and then the brain side. So on the power side, you have things like motors, your motor controllers, or some people call them ESCs, depending on what type of motor you have. You have the battery or whatever you're using for power. It might be an engine or fuel cell or anything of that nature. And then depending on whether you're a drone or rover, you either have propellers or you have wheels. Or it might be tracks or another type of system like that to move it. So that's your main power side, and that's how you take your energy and put it into motion somehow. But then on the brain side, you have generally a flight controller or some sort of computer that is the brains of the device. Although in some cases, depending on what you're doing, the brains might actually just be a human who's directly controlling your drone or rover. But often there's some sort of a computer on board. And then you have different communications that it'll have, as far as it often have a GPS link, depending on what it's doing, and then a radio link to go to the controller, or it might be a satellite link or a cell link to communicate with the ground station or whatever it's operating it, or maybe it's just whatever is observing it. And then you can have a myriad of sensors and payloads, as far as cameras, lidars, radar, and a range of different things that can be put on it, depending on what its task is and what it needs to do.
Would I be able to say, is it more like a hardware and software part of it?
Yeah.
For the body and brain?
Yeah, so these are components, the hardware components, and then software is very important as well, because that actually, is what the computer uses to tell it, what it's doing and how to do it. So it's definitely a marriage of the two together to make it work.
Okay, and which part is harder? I would have to assume brain part is harder, more challenging, is it?
So honestly, you got to think about it, since it's a prototype and it's never been built before. The entire thing is hard. But the cool thing is we've worked on so many different products already that we now are working directly with the manufacturers of the motors, the ESCs, the propellers, in order to change what these motors or what these parts are actually doing, so that it can do this new job that has never existed, or has existed but hasn't been done well enough. So it's what makes it actually really, really cool to work here, is that everything is very unique and new.
I assume I would love to check out your lab to see what you guys are building.
Yeah.
Your mission is to build bots. What are your challenges?
Because of what we do and how every bot is for a different task and different environment, the challenges are, constantly changing. And that's part of what we love with this job, is that you'll, get a client come in and they'll want to do some sort of crazy thing with a drone or rover, and we get to figure out how to make that happen. So the challenges are always different and they're always unique, and it's the fun part of it. We always get to come in and figure out some new way to overcome some challenge. On the general side of it, one of the challenges we do have with some clients is there are a lot of companies out there that kind of over exaggerate what these drones and rovers can do, and have a lot of outlandish claims that they can't really support. So sometimes people come in and expect us to be able to build these crazy things that isn't possible with the current technology. And there's lots of great things they can do, and they can help in so many different ways. And so it's just kind of managing our clients' expectations of, okay, here's what the technology can actually do right now and how it can help you right now, and making sure, they don't have too lofty of expectations of it being able to do things that it just can't do right now. So that's one of the challenges we have with some clients.
And actually, a lot of that also, you got to think of the future. So we know what technologies are coming and what's changing to be able to maybe get closer to that reality for that client. So a lot of times when he says, managing those expectations is taking that build and creating it in a way that it can scale to those new technologies. That way they're never stuck and they don't have to start from scratch. So that's a big help for the companies.
So what is the average time frame from customer to until you finish the product?
It depends how complex it is. And that's always based on their budget. So it's depending on the client's budget, we can take in account how many hours it's going to take to build something for them. And that kind of leads to what level of production that robot will get to. So some of them can take years, others, a couple of months. So
we've solved some problems in hours before. Yeah. Client comes in, depending on what we're working on, and we're doing something else for them. They mention a problem, and we've had things where within a few hours we've made something and modified their device and fixed their problem. So yeah, it really ranges.
Wow, that's great. And you have a high-speed drone are used for Hollywood movies. Tell us more about these projects.
So our background started with drone racing. So we love high speed and pushing technology. And Hollywood has always had an issue where anything that they're filming that's like a high speed scene, They're having helicopters or planes even with expensive cameras carrying it to do these jobs. Except of course, planes and helicopters can't go through certain areas. And it's incredibly expensive to use. So we developed basically drones that can take these high-end cameras and take them into very precise, very hard to take shots, positions, and at really high speed. So we can hit 140 miles an hour, depending on the payload on that drone. So that means a car chase and or anything like that. We can do it very precisely, incredibly accurate, and very close to the subject, also without putting a human at risk. So, which is incredibly important. And of course, that lowers the cost of the entire, film. So we could do a better shot for less money and look way cooler.
Wow. And for 140 miles per hour, you don't get any vibrations from the drone that carry through that speed?
Yes, you do. And that's what makes our company very special is the time that it takes to create, depending on that camera, because every camera is different. You're creating a system that can absorb those vibrations for specifically that exact shot. So a lot of times it's, it's very specific stuff that's created for these drones in order to do the best that they can. And then the rest gets fixed with software.
How excited you build all the different and unique products.
Yes.
So if you could build one thing to save the world, what would it be?
I'm really excited you asked that because when we started this company, we did want to build robots for good. And this year specifically, we're actually looking for funding to create one of those things, which is firefighting robots. So the idea is to be able to see a fire and try to help to take it out within 10 minutes. In some situations, right now the technology, like we said from the beginning, can only do so much, but it will be something that scales and eventually will do amazing things. And this is one of our pride and joy right now is to be able to help with these wildfires and be able to take that knowledge that we've gained from creating all of these robots from different industries and put them all to use into one place. So we'll have to invite you soon to come check out a live demo at one of our secret locations.
I would love to. I'm excited already. People are worried about robots may replace jobs. What are your views?
So our views are that it is going to be, with any new technology, you create shifts in the marketplace, and drones and robots are going to do the same thing. There'll be shifts. So you're on, some jobs they will eliminate, but other jobs will be created. And a lot of times it'll just be a shift in the job. And most of the jobs that they will eliminate or shift from are the most boring, monotonous jobs and also the most dangerous ones. So one example right now the drones are used for a lot is for inspections. So there's all types of structures that have to get inspected on a regular basis, from bridges, cell towers, windmills, things like that. And so before you had to send somebody up on the tower, hundreds of feet in the air, hanging under the bridge to do the inspection and see all these points on the structure and make sure there's no cracks or anything like that. Now, instead of somebody climbing it or climb under the bridge, they have a drone pilot comes in and flies a drone, and they can fly to all these different areas, and it's much safer and much faster. And so now they can do better inspections and do them faster than they could before without risking anybody's life doing it. So it's one of those things that it's a different job now. It's a drone pilot versus somebody climbing the structure, but it's also a safer job and more efficient.
What kind of information will you bring? Something like inspections? Will you have some image, and do you have a measurement, or what kind of information you will bring it to?
Yeah, it depends on inspection. So some inspections, they just need photos of the structure. Other times they need full scans, and you can do things with LiDAR and you can get a full scan of the entire structure and do it that way. Other times they want different types of imaging as far as thermal or infrared or things of that nature. And so with it, again, you can change the payload of the drone and, change what its capabilities are and, really get the information that the client wants, which, varies a lot from structure to structure and from company to company.
Okay. And I'm excited about your battle bots will be featured on television on February 2nd. Please tell us more about this TV show.
So BattleBots is a worldwide competition of robots that are 250 pounds. And honestly, the competition is basically world-class engineers trying to outdo each other on this arena. And the reason we did BattleBots is because our company, since we do a lot of secret stuff and we could never talk about what we actually built, we wanted a way to an outlet that we can show the world what we can actually do. And it just seemed like the perfect venue is to create a robot in a very short time to compete against world-class engineers. And what we decided to do is every engineer and every person that we picked for this team had never built a BattleBot before in their lives. And the reason for that is because we wanted to bring that fresh perspective and to show again that we can do this without ever tackling, something like that. And it turned out that we ended up with some of the world's best. We have Lauren Carpenter, which is a co-founder of Pixar that helped us with the creative. We had Andres Overbeeki, who is a designer for F1 cars and exotic cars to do the look of it. We had an ex-Boeing material scientist, Kevin Slattery, that was to help us with materials. And then, of course, I think we ended up at close to 40 engineers.
Yeah, around 40.
Around 40 engineers to build this robot within 2 months. The design process and idea process was a lot longer, but the actual build time was around 2 months. Which is for any company and anybody is an insane undertaking. And we went to Vegas and performed, and we're excited, that we made it into this competition that they only allow 50 people at, and got to compete. And we're looking forward to everybody seeing us on February 2nd. Good or bad, we made it, right? So, check us out. We'll be happy that'll be on Discovery Channel on the 2nd.
It's robotic combat. I don't know if you actually mentioned that part. So
yeah, robotic combat. Sorry.
Robots, fighting each other and trying to basically fight to the death.
Wow. Is that what that means, the battle bot name from?
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't very specific there.
Okay. And how big is it and how heavy is it?
So they're 250 pounds. This is the heavyweight robotic combat.
So it is the highest level of competition for robotic combat right now that's out there, and the only one that's on TV for that level.
And how tall, how big? It's like a human being size?
Some of them are. So there are some that are 6 feet tall. Most of them are not that big, but they range. But usually, at least a couple feet across and a foot or two tall. There's a variety of different sizes and shapes. There's lots of unique bots out there to see. Yeah, I think ours is right in the mid-range of the bigger and the smaller ones. So we're in the 1 meter? Around a meter across, 3 to 4 feet, and then 4 to 5 feet long.
Wow, that's pretty big piece. How did you transport that to Las Vegas?
We actually had 3 SUVs. And an RV, and we actually built 4 robots for the competition. Wow. So we wanted to, have enough parts and be ready for it. So we had that, and then we had friends over in Vegas who had their own shop that allowed us to work directly in their shop to help us in the back end. And it was insane. That was huge undertaking. There was a lot that went into it.
So how did you come up with the designs for your 4 robots?
So the designs the designs came from trying to fit within the rule book. So they have a gigantic rule book for BattleBots, and you have to build within those parameters. And we wanted to build something unique, which is why I was saying that we had to get engineers from all over the world that were, top of their class to be able to make something different. And also a way for us to show the world that our company works with some of the best, and in order to create a unique product for them. So yeah, I mean, design straight from exotic and F1 cars. Like, I mean, how much better can you get than that, right? Then the creativity, I mean, Lauren Carpenter, co-founder of Pixar. I mean, you can't get more creative than that. Materials, those special materials comes, a material scientist from Boeing. And I mean, every part of this thing comes from some of the best and most acknowledged people around the world. And we're showing them how we can get everybody in unison to work on one project in a very small time and create something unique and very cool.
Did you run into any challenges on this project?
Yes, all of them. A lot of challenges. I'll let Derek speak out.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the challenges is really the weight. 250 pounds sounds like a lot, but you're going against something else that's 250 pounds and, it can hit very hard. So, and we're trying to throw all these, unique ideas into this bot. And so it was the challenge of, how do we implement these things, make them strong enough and, keep our weight, light enough for the competition. So I think that was one of the biggest thing was, just putting all these ideas into one bot and having it, have everything fit together and then just having it meet weight was one of the biggest challenges.
Yeah, that was insane.
Do you have to decide like a particular color or any look to fit in your bot?
Any look. It's basically whatever you can come up in your mind, but it just has to fit in that 250-pound maximum weight. And then it has to also, like, the weapon speed cannot go past 250 miles per hour tip speed. So that's the edge of that weapon. And again, since we were trying to make it very unique and add all these like brand new engineering things that they had never seen before, and implement them into something that fast, that was the incredible challenge, to do that. So new materials, new parts, new designs, and everything was from scratch. So like even the gears were all CNC'd from scratch.
Yeah.
For this thing.
So 250 miles per hour, it must be able to fly.
No.
No?
No, this is a ground robot.
Ground robot, okay.
Yeah, this is a ground robot. So this will be a ground robot. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if you turn those blades into, it would lift off the ground. If you give them
make that an airfoil, you could probably you could
you can have that thing get off the ground. Yeah. And actually, that actually brings something interesting from that robot. So all these robots can be flipped over. And so there's a way, I mean, you have to come up with a creative way for it to flip back. And one of the crazy things that we decided to do, which will be unique and never seen before, is we actually designed and created a cold air thruster, which is, I'm gonna let Derek explain what a cold air thruster is, because he'll say it in a better way.
Basically, it's a rocket nozzle. Those rockets, usually you're putting combustible fuel through it, but this you're just doing highly compressed air. That's the same concept. You put highly compressed air through the nozzle and it creates thrust for you.
So when you said that if it could fly, yeah, this thing would be able to fly, except because of that 2-month window, we did create it and we never got to put it on the robot for 2 reasons. One, it was way too unsafe. It was so incredibly powerful that it was bad. And we didn't have enough time to make reiterations of it to make it safe. But also it was a weight issue. So that 250-pound weight issue was critical, where and they don't give you 1 pound. So if you're over that 1 pound, no matter how cool it is, they do not let you use it. So that was another sad thing, to not be able to use some of those cool technology that we're bringing in.
Wow, that sounds like very challenging. Just try to meet the requirements.
Yep.
And tell us on Discover China what time on February 2nd your show will be aired?
So February 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
8 p.m. So 5 p.m. our time in West Coast.
I believe
Yes,
so.
I think so. But I mean, I would check your schedule because
Yeah.
I'll check the TV schedule. But you do want to mark February 2nd and BattleBots show. And you know,
Okay.
whatever time that is for that area would be the best way to
Yeah.
really see it.
We always stream it, so we forget what time it actually comes on here. See the issue.
I mean, yeah, or you can set it from now on DVR.
Yeah.
You know, that way you don't miss it. Right?
Okay, I would definitely want to watch your show on TV. Tell us how people can find you when they want you to help them to build something.
So people can go to our website, which is ostrichair.com, and they can see some of the projects we worked on, at least the ones that we can show. And if they have any questions, they can email us at info@ostrichair.com.
Great. Well, that sounds very excited. Thank you very much, Jonathan and Derek, today for the wonderful information that you provided to my listeners.
Well, thank you, Daphne, as well. We really appreciate you taking the time today.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.